welcome back to yet another final reveal. This one is quite exquisite. Today we are in Syokimau, where I will take you on a tour alongside Mwenesi, and we'll be talking to you about all the small, intricate details that we've done for this particular property.
Yeah, so Cynthia, I mean, coming into this place in Syokimau, you wouldn't think that there's this much development. This is a very nice property, Fairfield Park, and there are a couple of houses here. I understand that these are 4-bedroom townhouses?
Exactly, 4-bedroom.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, for the amount of space that this property has, you wouldn't think that you'd be able to fit the size of house that we're about to look at.
Yeah, it is 3 stories, so that is quite interesting, because most of the houses that I've been able to see, you know, in this type of development tend to be like 2 stories. So having 3 stories really gave us that leeway to like really play around with different things.
Fantastic.
And I actually want to acknowledge the contractors and, you know, the architects who actually built these properties, because I have to say that they make our work coming in to beautify these spaces so much easier. This house in particular, we didn't have to do any demolishing or, you know, a lot of construction work. So it made our job really be able to like focus on just beautifying an already gorgeous structure. So I just have to say, we have to acknowledge the people who actually build the properties.
Interesting. I mean, that's a very good point. And I mean, we've said this time and time again, you know, if you don't work with your contractor, with your architect, with the engineers, with the people who are involved in the structural aspects of the house, it makes life that much more difficult, because then you have to keep going back and demolishing and starting from scratch. But I guess this house is something that you guys are familiar with, and I guess maybe we can start with the outside.
Definitely. I want to start off from this side.
Okay.
I just like that, you know, there was a thought to have some natural elements right from the get-go. So it's beautiful. You can see the variety of flowers, but then you can see majority of the section here is cabro.
Right.
Yes, which I think just, you know, is one of the main reasons they thought, let's add something natural over to the sides. And as we walk further in, you can see we've continued that theme.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at this outside space, I see the other properties don't have this level of detail as far as the flowers, and there's some interesting stone sculpture features here, as well as the lighting as well. Yeah,
these are just features that we've added in to really make this house feel more unique, because the houses here are uniform. So just from the outset, we wanted to create something visual that will just make it stand out.
Right.
Yeah, and I want you to note the little, you know, rustic, antique elements in the light, because that will play a role later in the house, because we've done such details on purpose to the specification of the client.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, the theme goes throughout. As I said, this area is mostly cabro, so you can see we've added touches of like, you know, potted plants. We have this faux grass here, just to keep that theme going, following from the entrance. So throughout we have added natural elements.
I like this. I mean, this is actually where the water meter is held, but it doesn't look like that. It looks like a very nice, beautiful compartment, but actually that's where the water meter is.
Yeah,
very nice.
They can look quite garish.
Right.
So if you're going to beautify, you don't want to have that just staring at you. So yeah, we concealed it and just made the whole area very beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's a nice creative touch.
Yeah.
And this area, it looks like some kind of a landing, because you wouldn't find a picture or art
Yeah.
on the outside of the house as you come in? Because I assume this is parking for you know, at least 2 cars. I think 2 cars can fit here quite nicely. And if there are no cars, someone can maybe use this space for an event to host people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so that was essentially the thought process in beautifying. I think we've seen a feature like this on one of the other properties we've talked about together.
Yes.
Do you remember where it was?
I think it was Nakuru.
Definitely Nakuru. So it does make an impact in each of these spaces that we choose to put such artwork on the outside. Again, it's just a part of making the house stand out, beautifying the exterior, so we don't just leave it bland. You have to give like hints on what to expect on the inside. It doesn't have to be too blatant, but something like that just kind of lets you know, like, we really do pay attention to every aspect of a property when we're decorating it. So that is one of the main features of having this beautiful artwork right at the entrance.
I like it. It continues the feeling of welcoming you to the house.
Exactly.
So whether you're inside or you're outside, you don't feel like you're too far removed from the experience.
Yeah. So I think from here we can go inside and actually see the main event.
After you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Very, very beautiful.
I think, you know, we can't really move away from the entrance.
No.
Because you can obviously see there's been effort put into just this first step into the house.
There's so much to talk about, Cynthia.
Exactly.
The marble into the wood effect, the light, this little bit of molding here.
Yes.
This element that welcomes you, that mirror, that beautiful light work. There's so much to talk about. So
Yeah.
I'm in your hands. Tell me where we are. So this is the entrance.
So this is the entrance, and the thought process was we want it to feel very bright when you come in, very welcoming. So that's why you can see the difference in tile leading into the living room. We have these very beautiful white tiles. They're glossy, reflective, so it really does make the space feel very, very bright.
Right.
And then we wanted to have this light element, this pendant light, which is actually quite beautiful. You can see it has that crystal feature, but
Beautiful.
the coolest thing about it, I have to say personally, is that you can kind of change the warmth of the light. So with every switch, yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous. I love that because it allows the client to change the ambience of a space quite easily.
Right.
And we've done that in multiple places in the house. I'll talk to you about that later. And then we just have this little mirror here. It's just one of those,
Check yourself as you come in, as you leave.
Yeah. And then we have the common bathroom over here, which is also so much detail. You can see there's another divide of the tile work.
Yes.
Just to make this place feel like its own space. Every room has to feel. Yeah, you can immediately feel the change in, atmosphere when you walk in there. You can tell from the tiles in the wall, they feel a bit more natural, they have more color to them. We have this beautiful circular mirror. Another, I always love that little feature.
Functional.
Yeah, I just love it. I love, the wooden feature around that, gorgeous. And also, I love how the layout is.
Well, I mean, if I was a guest in this house, I would not mind spending time in this bathroom.
Yeah. So we can head on out.
Yep.
Yeah, and before we can go, I want to point out this ceiling lamp.
Yes.
Because it is something that we also have in other places in the house, just to create flow, because there's little things that we've done to create flow through the house, and I'll be pointing them out as we keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is nice. I mean, this is an entire space and experience on its own. So if I'm standing here, if I need to just touch myself up, check myself out, maybe I could be leaving my keys here.
Yeah.
Pick up my stuff, whatever it is, and head out. This in and of itself is, it's almost like a mini room.
Yeah, it's its own experience.
Very
and
nice.
we have been able to actually create fantastic flow. Like, the spaces feel different, but they still feel like they exist in the same world, which was very, very important. And I have to say, this is due to the client allowing us to have the freedom. Like, they had their input of what they'd like, but it wasn't restrictive. So everything that you're going to see is, we were able to do that in that way because the client gave us that freedom to do it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, so let's step into the living room. There is so much I want to tell you about this living room because, as I've said before, there was so much work that we did when it came to making sure that we created flow and we created an ambience of warmth. I always say this, living rooms need to feel warm and welcoming, and that was such a huge factor when it came to designing this living room.
First thing that catches my eye is there's obviously some nice storage here just before you get to the stairway, and there's enough space because space is important. When you walk in, you don't think there's enough space, but the way it's been structured, it feels like there's enough space.
Yeah.
I don't know if this existed before, but I like this. I like the fact that you can store different items on there, and then you've obviously got your storage as well underneath the stairs. Very, very beautiful. And then moving out into this area, maybe you can show me a little bit about what's happening there.
Okay, before we go, that one wasn't like that.
It wasn't like this?
It was not like that. We created that because we always think of wanting to give the client spaces where they can decorate themselves. That's why it's empty. Usually we'd put some pieces there, but we've chosen that area as one of the areas where the client will come in and choose the pieces that matter to them. We've just added a few vases just to make things beautiful.
Right.
And you never want that space underneath the stairs to go to waste.
Right.
So that's why we always create storage underneath the stairs, just to, create more spaces for the client to use their house. You can go into the main space. You can see we've covered part of it with a carpet, but it still retains that element of warmth. The tile itself has that wood effect in that warm color, so that knocks it out of the park in terms of making any space feel warmer. And then the carpet, that texture, adding in something that feels a bit more fluffy, it's easy on the feet. Yeah, so it's just another addition that makes this space feel more complete and not too empty.
And I know you're a big fan of cozy, so the carpets with the wood effect tiles.
Yes.
Because this is not actually wood, this is wood effect. This is actually tile.
Yeah, and that was intentional.
Right.
This is a household that has children.
I see.
And if you know anything about real wood, it's high maintenance. And you can imagine you would not want your kids playing anywhere near your real wood. So we went for the tile because it's easier to clean. The kids can just go wild. It doesn't really scratch easily. So that was very, very intentional.
Very nice. And the coziness of the rug, and obviously this really nice fireplace.
Yes.
Yes, it is a functional fireplace, guys. This is actually quite warm.
Yes.
Very nice with the wood feel. And it's a compact space, but it feels like you've got enough space to do what you need to do. You can host people here. And obviously the concept of the feeling of space is enhanced by the sheer depth of this ceiling to floor ratio.
High walls. Like, it was a bit of a challenge because we were thinking, we have that beautiful feature that we played around with the wainscoting, the hexagonal pattern.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
It was one of those concepts that when you heard about it, you're like, how is that going to? And then they did it and you're like, oh my God, it is so amazing. I want that in my house. I quite enjoy geometrical patterns, and I think that's a very nice, subtle way of putting it that doesn't look too gaudy or stand out too much. And you can see some of those geometric elements you will see throughout the house. You can see on the curtains as well. These curtains were kind of, it's one of those fabrics we looked at and we're like, is it gonna make the area look too busy? But because we went with a very muted color palette, in this living room, we were able to put these in, and this was the perfect fit to make this overall space not feel too empty.
What comes out very clearly when I'm standing in this space is there's a deliberate use of the luxury element of gold.
Yes.
It's starting to come out, and not just in the fabric and the curtain, but also that wall feature over there. There are little touches, in some of the artwork.
Yeah. So this is the focal wall of this living room, obviously. And when we first came in, it was plain. So we came up with a concept of having these symmetrical display shelves on either side. And the idea actually is not to fill them up all the way to the top, because as I said, we don't want anything too distracting to be there. So the lower portions spaces where I could easily see the client putting pictures of their family, but the top area is actually meant to just be left like that, just so that there is a balance on that wall.
Okay, very nice. I think as much as the client did want, was very specific. I want gold. I want antique.
Yeah.
As we've said, there has to be a nice balance, and so this is nice. The symmetry that is created there is nice, but I cannot ignore this incredible chandelier that's hanging above us.
I mean, what's the point of having these high walls and then having something that doesn't really accentuate them?
And that always raises the question, Cynthia, when you're working with an interior designer or a company such as Fine Urban Interiors.
Yeah.
How much leeway do you have when it comes to stuff like color choice? So as a client, if I say I want gold in my house,
yes,
is it something that Fine Urban will push back and say, well, we'll give you gold, but we're not going to give you all the gold that you want. Like we can't you can't just be in a gold vault. It has to be tasteful. It has to be in a significant way. So how do you strike a balance between what the client wants, color scheme wise, and choosing some of the other elements that will actually complement the choice of color?
I've mentioned that when it comes to that, we do try to fulfill the client's needs almost to a T. The reason I say almost to a T is because I am pretty sure if the client had their way, they'd have a whole gold wall.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it's so easy. I think you know this, being someone who's been in a lot of different luxurious spaces. It's so easy for gold to go gaudy, tacky.
I want it everywhere. I want gold in my fireplace. I want my TV to have gold embroidery. I want it everywhere.
Exactly.
And so I guess maybe there has to be some element of saying, okay, fine, I'll give you the gold fabric. I'll give you hints, but there's
here and there.
There are parts of the house that have to flow with that. So that even the choice of rug, the choice of furniture, all of this has to blend in a tasteful way. And I guess that's where the interior designer comes in.
Yeah, so what we did for this client was like, okay, what we're gonna do so that you feel like you get to really enjoy the gold elements that we do, we're gonna keep everything else muted. So that way, we're not filling the space with gold, but you will still pick up on it and enjoy it. So because it's not fighting with any other element in the house.
If I'm the client and I've said, look, I want gold, I want what I want, there has to be something that will give them that.
Yes.
And obviously, you cannot walk into this house and not pick up on this exquisite dining room.
Yes.
Where obviously all gold dreams are being fulfilled.
Yeah, down to the lighting. So we can head over. So the tile from the living room, this whole entire area has similar tile.
Right.
We will also have the carpet here so that we could really, really play around with those gold elements that you're seeing. Everything is decked out with gold.
Everything. No, and you know what makes it even more is the fact that you've got this huge mirror effect that reflects more gold off. So you've got gold here and then it's bouncing off.
Yeah, it gives you the illusion of having more gold in the space without necessarily actually having more gold elements that would overwhelm it. So it was very, very intentional. And I have to say, apart from all this beautiful gold, the contrast between the black, the white, it's just other things that we've done to make it stand out even more.
I like it. And obviously, mirror adds to the size of the space.
Yes.
I love that there is space. Again, this is not a large space. It's actually quite compact, but it feels like you can move around because it's not cluttered. It is tastefully done. There's enough space to move around.
Exactly.
You've got this luxury, just
it feels
almost decadent.
Right? We've given the client that sense of like, yes, I have that thing that I really love in my house.
Absolutely.
Right here in the dining room.
Yeah, so like you can take a relax, breathe, but then when you come here, it's like, yes,
next
I have
level.
arrived.
Yeah.
Total next level.
Yeah.
And of course there's this feature here, Cynthia. So is this functional? Is this something that someone can use? Let's say because I can see that there's a connection between this section and the kitchen.
Yeah.
Talk me through this piece.
So our client didn't want the super open plan kitchen, because you'd find a client who'd like, hey, let me have a breakfast bar here and then just take down everything. But they were like, no, I want a bit more privacy in my kitchen. So don't just put up a wall. Like, we're here to design the house and make it beautiful. And we have been given the freedom. So we decided the best way to still make this area feel beautiful without closing it off is by creating this, it's almost like an mosaic, I would call that, because you can see the open, you know, the closed sections where you could display anything that you want, and it still creates that. You don't have like a direct line of sight into the kitchen, so it kind of does create, you know,
a little bit of a distinction between the spaces.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And then we have the section here that we left open on purpose, because if you want to display some of your favorite wines, you can see it from your dining room, and that's just the perfect place to do that.
Well, I love this dining room. I love
too.
everything that's happening here. Obviously, the light feature here is lovely. The gypsum that comes around with more enhanced lighting, just to make the gold element stand out more. I would say this is, for me, this is the standout area of this house.
I mean, it really, literally, as you walk in, this catches your eye immediately.
Beautiful.
And I have to tell you, these lights are similar to the one we saw at the entrance. So you can change up the warmth to create that ambiance. So you can see having the warmer lights really adds on to the glow of the gold in the space.
Very nice.
And as well as, I have to say, my favorite part of this entire area, as much as I love the gold and everything, it has to be that broken mirror design, because I've been on a lot of sites where we've done broken mirror designs, and sometimes I'm still in awe about the creative designs that we're still able to come up with. We're not just doing the same thing in every property. This one gives me like jewel vibes, like almost like a cut diamond.
Yes, with the...
Yeah, it gives me that, you know, that vibe. So it just helps to make this area feel even more luxurious.
I feel like I'm in a gold ring. Some diamonds, you know, on the side. You know, this is the ring itself.
Yes.
It's very, very, very exquisite.
Yeah.
Very nicely done.
Yeah. So there's one more space that I want to show you, which is right back here. You might not know, like, there's even a door here. You can easily walk past it.
I thought this was a window, Cynthia.
No, it's actually a door that leads out into the backyard.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
Huh?
Here we go.
Look at that. Just when you thought the fun was over.
No, we've walked into a whole new world, technically.
This is incredible. So this is actually, this looks like it is purposed for entertainment in case you want to do an outdoor event.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is, what is this, a fireplace? And
Yeah, it's a fire pit.
a fire pit.
Yeah.
Sorry, not a fireplace, a fire pit. This is amazing. And you know, you would not think that there would be tile work that would happen outside onto grass and a different set of tiles. So there's different tile there, different tile here into this fire pit, which leads us to this nice, beautiful space, which,
It's dusty.
you know, you can
It's dusty.
sit around and do what you need to do.
I'm sorry. I said it's dusty.
It's
That
fine.
was definitely going to be picked up
No, it's fine.
by my microphone.
Yeah, it's fine. Just position myself here.
It's fine.
Yeah,
What do
you can tell me about what's happening here, Cynthia.
Yeah, so the thought process was we need a transition area between the grass and, you know, the seating area. So it's just like visual elements like that that just make the biggest difference in enjoying a space small. And you can see that applied even on the edges there. You know, we have the trees, but we have that white stone, just creating contrast against that green. It's just so many small elements that could be easily ignored, but make such an impact because we did choose to put them here.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously here you can throw on a couple of cushions if you want to be a bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
And you've got a nice little area here, which is nice and green. You've got
Yeah.
your lawn, but as well, I see that there's a space here where if you throw on some cushions, you can also relax on this nice swing chair.
Yeah, the kids will definitely be using this more because as the parents are there, you know, the fire pit chilling, they're like, you know, we want to have something that feels a bit more fun. They could come and just, you know, once we put the cushions on there.
I'm not a kid, and I would be sitting. I'd be spending a lot of time on that.
Yeah, it's just relaxing to have that swing that we had. You can see we have the natural grass here. Obviously, this area had to be modified, but we still wanted to feel like it's still a part of the same environment. So we put in this carpet grass because it matters. Things like that really, really do matter.
And I see, you know, hints of gold as well.
Yeah,
Gotta have the gold.
it's continuing.
Gotta have the gold.
I've been saying this from the beginning of this tour.
Right.
flow is important, and that was one of the things that we really focused on when we were working on this project. So you can see those elements, and that's why I keep pointing them out, because I'm like, yeah, you'll notice the gold.
Right.
Remember the gold? Remember, because it's
Yes.
just...
It's in my head now.
Yeah.
It's in my head, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking like the client, and I guess, you know, you've delivered once again on what the client had in terms of what they were expecting.
Yes, we've
Really, really
managed to
nice.
make this very functional. I still feel like it's a space where the kids can come and toss around a ball.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
it's,
this was a drainage area.
yeah, so the water flows in through here. So it's still functional, but we kind of beautified it. So you can see we have those beautiful blue lights leading down. We have the white stone. So it just matches the overall vibe of the backyard.
Wow, okay, so at least, yeah, I was gonna say, if you do have a townhouse, it's important that you have elements of beauty outside where it's functional, but it's also nice to look at aesthetically. A townhouse is a townhouse because you've got open space on
Yes,
the outside
yes.
that you can enjoy, and it's your personal space. I would never have thought that you would be able to access it from that beautiful dining room.
Yeah, it's kind of concealed. You can't really, it's like it's just a window. No, it's another door, another way to access
Right.
this beautiful outdoor space that feels natural.
Right.
Yeah,
So maybe we can go and check out the rest of the house.
yeah. So I think we can now go into the kitchen where you'll see that we have changed up the tile yet
Right.
again.
And it's nice because there's a warmth that's over there, and
Yes.
then it gets cooler as you come in.
Very much so. Like
Right?
it's immediate. Like
Yeah.
you can, we still have those gold elements
Gotta
still
have gold.
even in the kitchen.
Gotta have the gold.
Yeah,
Lots of space.
very much,
Yeah.
very much. Like there's, what we did was just increase the capacity of storage. A kitchen is a very busy area. You always want to have enough room to store food, because you can think nowadays people don't like making weekly trips. So if you have things that like you can purchase in bulk for maybe the month, you want to have space to put it in. So storage is always very vital for the kitchen, and that's what we've done. Kept it very nice and white. It's glossy finish for easier cleaning. The tile had to be white too and glossy for easier cleaning as well. So you can see there's uniformity throughout.
I dislike clutter immensely,
Yes.
and I can see that there's been so much effort to create as much storage space
Yeah.
as humanly possible. There's so much storage
Yeah.
in this place. I mean, from the bottom to the everywhere you look, all around you, there are elements where you can, you know, put some stuff away, which is really helpful, which
Yeah.
leaves this space free and clear for you
Yes.
to move around and do what you need to do.
Yeah, definitely. Movement was also another factor. These are things that you have to consider. We've kept the tones very muted as well, but we've still added that element of warmth, not as much as we did for the other spaces.
Definitely.
But you can see by the, you know, the tile work that we've chosen for the backsplash. It's like a brown, you know, cream color tone, so that it doesn't feel too cold in here.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I like the light effect as well. Nice, cool light to just, you know, bring out the marble on the floor.
Yeah, it's reflecting the light, giving that illusion as well. You know, when you play with white and lights in any space, it does give that illusion of a bigger space, but also it just feels more serene. This feels like a kitchen that you'd feel calm in just working. There's no clutter, there's nothing getting in your way. It's just one of those very beautiful kitchens.